What if the way you talk to yourself every day is the single biggest factor holding you back or pushing you forward? Have you ever noticed how some thoughts leave you drained and stuck, while others give you strength and clarity? The words you tell yourself aren't just thoughts. They shape your feelings, your choices, and the life you live. Today, I'm going to share 10 powerful things you need to say to yourself every single day. These aren't empty slogans or feel-good cliches. They are real, honest truths designed to help you stop doubting, start acting, and finally take control of your future. If you're ready to shift your mindset, build confidence, and unlock the motivation that's been waiting inside you, keep watching. This video will challenge you, inspire you, and leave you with a new way to speak to yourself. One that fuels real change. Don't miss this. Number 1, decide to take full responsibility for your life today. You wake up and realize no one's coming to save you. That's the first truth most people never face. Not your parents, not your boss, not your friends. No one is going to hand you a better life. And if you keep waiting, hoping that something will change on its own, the years will pass and you'll still be stuck in the same spot, frustrated, exhausted, and full of regret. That's why the first thing you need to tell yourself every single day is this: I decide to take full responsibility for my life today. Now, what does that really mean? It means no more blaming, no more pointing fingers, no more if only. Because as long as you keep blaming the world, you're handing your power away. You're giving the wheel of your life to someone else, and then wondering why you're not getting anywhere. So you can't change what you won't own. And the moment you say, this is mine to handle, that's the same moment you start to rise. Responsibility is not about guilt. It's not about shame. It's about power. It's about ownership. It's about looking yourself in the mirror and saying, this is where I am, and I'm the one who's going to change it. That's not weakness. That's real strength. Because it takes courage to say, my life is the way it is because of the choices I've made, and I have the power to make new ones. You don't have to like where you are right now. Maybe you're behind on bills. Maybe you're stuck in a job you hate. Maybe your health is falling apart. Maybe your relationships are a mess. But that's not the end of your story. The most powerful people you admire, the ones who seem untouchable, they weren't born that way. They just stopped waiting. They looked at the pain, the setbacks, the bad habits, and they said, I'm done making excuses. They took responsibility, and you can too. Now you might say, but you don't understand what I've been through. And I get it. Life can hit hard. People can be cruel. You might not have been given the same opportunity. But here's what I know. As long as you use your past as a reason to stay stuck, your future will look just like your past. That's not punishment. That's reality. But the good news is, the moment you accept full responsibility, the past loses its grip. You stop being defined by it, and you start building something new. So how do you do it? How do you wake up and take full responsibility for your life today? You start by telling the truth to yourself, not the filtered version, not the sugar-coated one, the real truth. Ask yourself, where have I been playing small? Where have I been blaming others? Where have I been waiting for something that isn't coming? And then answer with brutal honesty. Because until you face the truth, you can't change it. Next, you look at your choices. Not just the big ones, the small ones too. Every decision adds up. What you eat, how you spend your time, what you do when you're tired, how you talk to yourself, what you say to, what you tolerate. All of it matters. When you start to see your choices as the building blocks of your life, you stop sleepwalking through your days. You become intentional. You become powerful. Then you stop complaining. Right now. Because complaining is a signal that you've forgotten your power. It's a cheap way to feel better without doing the work. But it doesn't solve anything. It doesn't fix your situation. It just trains your mind to focus on what's wrong. And when you focus on what's wrong, you stay stuck. So instead of complaining, ask yourself, what can I do about this? That's the question that leads to solutions. And maybe the hardest part, stop waiting for the perfect time. There's no perfect day to start being responsible. There's just now. If you wait until you're ready, you'll never start. If you wait until it feels easy, you'll never grow. Responsibility means acting before the world gives you permission. It means deciding that your life matters enough to fight for, even when it's hard, even when no one claps, even when it feels like nothing is changing yet. And yes, it will be uncomfortable. Because when you take full responsibility, you can't hide anymore. You can't pretend. You can't keep telling the same old story. You have to show up. You have to get honest. You have to make decisions. You have to work when it's easier to quit. But I promise you this, the day you stop waiting for someone else to fix your life is the day your life starts to change. Don't misunderstand. This isn't about being perfect. It's not about doing everything right. It's about owning the outcome. It's about waking up and saying, no matter what happened yesterday, today is mine. You make the best choices you can. You learn from your mistake. You don't waste time blaming yourself. You just keep moving. You keep learning. You keep showing up, because your life is not going to change by accident. It changes by decision. That's what responsibility is. A decision. You don't need a certificate. You don't need a special title. You just need to decide. You need to look at yourself and say, enough is enough. I've waited long enough. I've blamed long enough. I've played small long enough. From now on, I take full ownership of my life. And when you say that and mean it, you feel something shift. You stop looking for shortcuts. You stop looking for someone to blame. You get clear. You get focused. You start using your time better. You start taking care of your body. You start choosing better company. You speak differently. You walk differently. And people notice. Not because you're louder, but because you're grounded. You're responsible. And people feel that. Now here's the truth. Not everyone's going to support you when you decide to take responsibility. Some people will feel threatened by your growth. Some will call you selfish or arrogant. Some will want the old you back. The one who made excuses. The one who stayed small. But you're not doing this for them. You're doing this because you deserve to live a life that reflects your effort, your values, your heart. So decide now, not tomorrow, not next year. Decide today. This is your life. No one else gets to write your story. No one else has to live with your choices. That means no one else should be in charge of them. Decide to take full responsibility for your life today. You'll never regret that decision, because it's the beginning of everything you've been waiting for. The strength, the peace, the purpose, the freedom. It starts here. It starts with you. It starts now. Number 2, remind yourself that you are stronger than yesterday. You've made it through everything you thought would break you. And that means you're stronger than you've ever been. That's not just a feel-good idea. That's the truth. But most people don't stop to realize it. They wake up every morning carrying yesterday's weight, yesterday's doubt, yesterday's fear. Like it's still part of them. They forget the battles they've already fought. They ignore the pain they've already overcome. They look in the mirror and only see what's missing, never what's growing. That's why you need to remind yourself every single day, I am stronger than I was yesterday. Because if you don't remind yourself, no one will. The world moves fast. It doesn't slow down to celebrate your quiet victory. It won't pause to recognize the fact that you didn't quit last night when you felt like giving up. But you know, you were there. You pushed through. And that strength, that grit, that choice you made, it matters. It counts. You earned it. Most people don't realize what strength actually looks like. They think it's loud. They think it's bold. They think it means having it all figured out. But real strength is often quiet. It's subtle. It's invisible to everyone but you. It's getting out of bed when your heart is heavy. It's staying calm when your mind is spinning. It's doing the work even when no one's watching. And every time you do that, every time you choose growth over comfort, you get stronger. Not all at once, but little by little, layer by layer, day by day. And here's the catch. Most of the growth you're going through doesn't feel like progress. It feels like stress. It feels like doubt. It feels like falling apart. But that's where strength is built, in those quiet moments, when no one claps for you, when everything feels uncertain, when nothing seems to be working. That's when you're tested. That's when you're forward. And that's why you're stronger today than you were yesterday. Because you're still here. You might not have everything you want yet. You might still be chasing big goals. That's okay. Strength isn't measured by where you are. It's measured by what you've endured and how you respond. Look at your past year. Think about the situations you thought you wouldn't survive. The heartbreaks, the losses, the failures, the breakdowns. They didn't stop you. You're here. That alone means you're evolving. You're growing into someone who handles pressure better. who thinks clear, who chooses better. And that growth should never be ignored. You have to understand, most people never acknowledge their own progress. They wait for permission. They wait for someone else to notice. But the truth is, if you don't see your own growth, you'll keep believing you're stuck. And that belief becomes dangerous because the mind will lie to you if you let it. It will say, you're not doing enough. It will say, you're still the same. But when you stop and really look at your own journey, you'll realize you've changed more than you know. So start today by owning it. Speak it out loud if you have to. I am stronger than yesterday. I think more clearly. I choose more wisely. I recover faster. I bounce back sooner. I recognize what drains me and walk away quicker. I say no without guilt. I say yes with purpose. That's strength. That's progress. That's what growth really looks like. Becoming more in control of yourself every single day. Now, maybe you had a rough night. Maybe you feel like nothing's moving forward. That's part of the process. But remind yourself, strength isn't proven when everything is going well. It shows up when nothing is. And the fact that you're still moving, still searching, still trying, that alone puts you ahead of the people who gave up. You're not weak for having doubts. You're strong for not letting them control you. And maybe you don't see results yet. Maybe your dreams still feel far away. That's okay too. Because strength isn't about arriving. It's about continuing. It's about staying in the game. The results will come, but only if you remind yourself every day that you're worth the fight, that you're not the same person who started this journey, that every day, whether you feel it or not, you are becoming more capable, more aware, more prepared for what's ahead. Think about what's coming. The life you want, the peace you deserve, the people you haven't met yet, the opportunities that will show up when you're ready. You're not fighting for the past. You're preparing for the future. And every ounce of strength you build now is setting you up for something greater. But you have to believe in that progress. You have to honor your own journey, because no one else can do that for you. You might feel alone sometimes. You might feel like no one understands the pressure you're under. But you're not the only one fighting that battle. There are millions of people feeling what you're feeling. Waking up with anxiety, going to sleep with questions. But every day, you have a choice. You can give in, or you can get up. You can shrink back, or you can step forward. And the moment you choose to move forward, even by an inch, even by a single breath, that's strength. That's you becoming someone new. So stop comparing your journey to someone else's side reel. Stop thinking you're behind. You are not behind, you're becoming. And becoming takes time. It takes effort. It takes setbacks and restarts and hard conversations with yourself. But it's worth it. You are worth it. Every single bit of strength you've built will carry you to the next level. If you keep going, you didn't come this far to doubt yourself now. You've made it through things you never thought you would. You've rebuilt parts of yourself without telling anyone. You've handled emotions no one ever saw. And you did it without falling apart. That deserves recognition. That deserves your respect. So when the doubts come, when the pressure builds, don't forget how far you've come. Don't forget how many times you've been tested and didn't break. You've outgrown old versions of yourself. You've survived storms that once terrified you. That's not a small thing. That's everything. That means today, right now, you are stronger than you were yesterday. And maybe you don't feel strong yet. Maybe you feel tired. That's okay. Strength isn't about feeling great all the time. It's about showing up even when you don't. It's about making decisions that your future self will thank you for. It's about rising again even with shaky hands. That's the kind of strength that changes lives. You don't need anyone to validate your journey. You don't need a big audience to cheer you on. You just need to know that you've already proven more than most people ever will. By not quitting, by staying in the process, by continuing to evolve when it would have been easier to stay the same. So before the day slips away, remind yourself of this truth. You are not the person you used to be. You've grown. You've endured. You've learned. And because of that, because of the work you've done, and the pain you've faced and the choices you've made, you are stronger than you were yesterday. And if that's true, then who knows how far you'll go tomorrow. Start there. Keep building. Keep reminding yourself that you are becoming something powerful. And never forget, progress doesn't always shout. Sometimes it whispers, but if you listen closely, it's telling you, you're doing better than you think. Keep going. You're stronger than yesterday. And tomorrow, you'll be stronger still. Number 3, commit to staying calm when things don't go right. Most people lose everything they've built, not because they weren't smart enough or good enough, but because they couldn't stay calm when things started falling apart. That's the real test of growth. Not how you act when everything is working, but how you respond when everything goes wrong. When the plan fails, when someone lets you down, when nothing goes the way you expected. That's the moment that separates the ones who build something strong from the ones who let emotion tear it all down. And if you want to lead your life with purpose, with clarity, with strength, you've got to decide that no matter what's happening around you, you will stay calm. Because staying calm isn't weakness, it's power. It means you're in control of yourself, not the situation, not the chaos, not the noise, but you. And that's the only part of life you ever truly have power over. Everything else can fall apart. But if you don't fall apart with it, you've already won. Most people never learn that. They let emotions run the show. They react fast. They explode. They panic. They complain. And the worst part is, they justify it. They say things like, I couldn't help it, or anyone would have done the same. But those aren't reasons. They're excuses. And the more you make them, the more powerless you become. If every time something unexpected happens, you react emotionally, then you're not in charge of your life. Your reactions are. But you weren't built to live that way. You weren't made to be a slave to stress, or anger, or fear. You have the ability to choose your response. That's what makes you powerful. That's what makes you different. But that power only works if you use it. If you commit every day to not letting the outside world decide how you feel inside. Staying calm doesn't mean pretending you're okay. It means not giving your power away to every little inconvenience, or every person who tries to pull you into drama. It means pausing when things go wrong, instead of panicking. It means thinking clearly when everyone else is losing their head. And it means choosing the long-term win, instead of the short-term reaction. Think back to the last time you let a situation shake you. Not just frustrate you, really throw you off. Maybe it was a message that hit you wrong. Maybe it was someone who disrespected your boundary. Maybe it was a moment where something broke and you lost your patience. Now ask yourself, did the situation destroy you, or did your reaction? 9 times out of 10, it's the reaction. It's what we say when we're angry. It's the decisions we make when we're panicked. It's what really costs us. So if you want to get better, if you want to grow into someone who rises above, you've got to decide right now. No matter what happens, I will stay calm. Not just when it's easy, when it's hard, especially when it's hard. Because that's when the world shows you who you are. And that's when you show the world who you've decided to be. You won't always be able to control the chaos, but you can control whether or not you fuel it. You can choose to breathe before reacting. You can decide to respond with thought instead of noise. That's not weakness. That's strength. That's real personal power. And when you do this long enough, something shifts. Your presence changes. People can feel it. You become the one who doesn't flinch when others panic. You become the person who can handle pressure without making the room heavier. That kind of energy draws respect. It draws trust. And more than anything, it gives you peace. Now, this doesn't mean you won't feel things. You will. You'll feel hurt. You'll feel misunderstood. You'll feel like screaming at times. But feelings aren't the problem. It's what you do with them that makes the difference. Calm people still feel. They just don't let their feelings run the show. They don't let temporary emotion wreck permanent goals. And here's the real challenge. The bigger your dreams, the more chaos you'll face. The higher you climb, the more pressure you'll feel. So this isn't about staying calm to look peaceful. It's about survival. It's about mental resilience. Because in a world that's getting louder, angrier, more distracted by the day. Calm is a weapon. It's your edge. So how do you build it? You start by practice. You don't wait until everything's on fire to decide to stay calm. You work on it now in small ways. When someone cuts you off in traffic, you breathe. When your plan hits a snag, you adjust instead of complain. When someone talks down to you, you stand tall without losing control. That's how you train yourself. That's how you rewire the mind to stay clear under pressure. And when you mess up, and you will, don't use that as proof that you're not calm. Use it as fuel to try again. You don't learn anything by being perfect. You learn by failing and correcting, by noticing your triggers, by deciding every day to respond with clarity, not chaos. That's what separates those who succeed from those who get stuck in cycles of frustration and regret. And don't expect applause for this kind of growth. No one's going to give you a trophy for staying calm in a storm. But you'll feel the difference. You'll move through life with more confidence. You'll make smarter choices. You'll avoid problems that destroy other people because you kept your head when they lost theirs. That's the payoff. That's the win. The truth is, people will test you. Life will test you. But if you've already made the decision to protect your peace, not by avoiding problems, but by mastering your response, then nothing and no one can take that away from you. You stop reacting to every distraction. You stop falling into every emotional trap. And you start leading your own life with strength and purpose. You don't need to be louder to be stronger. You don't need to be more aggressive to be more powerful. You just need to stay clear when the world is unclear. Stay calm when others lose themselves. Stay grounded when everything else shakes. That's how you build a life you're proud of. One steady decision at a time. So before the day begins, make this decision for yourself. I will stay calm when things go wrong. I will protect my mind. I will think before I speak. I will pause before I react. Not because I'm weak, but because I've done the work to grow stronger. And because I respect myself too much to let temporary chaos create permanent damage. That's the decision that will change your life. And once you make it, you'll start to notice the shift. You'll start to see that peace isn't something you wait for, it's something you create. With every choice, with every breath, with every calm moment in the middle of a storm. Number 4, push yourself to show up no matter how you feel. There will be days when you wake up and feel nothing but heaviness in your chest and resistance in your body. But you must push yourself to show up anyway. Because showing up is where the real power begins. Success doesn't ask how you feel. Discipline doesn't care if you're tired. The world keeps turning whether you're ready or not. And the life you want is waiting for you to rise, even when your energy is low, your motivation is gone, and your heart isn't in it. If you wait until you feel perfect, you'll wait forever. You don't build a strong life by acting only when it's easy. You build it by standing up when everything in you wants to sit down. Most people don't talk about this part. They talk about passion, vision, purpose, and all of that matter. But none of it works if you don't develop the muscle to keep showing up. Not just once, not just when it's fun, but every single day, no matter what. The difference between people who build something and people who just talk about it is this: they act on their goals, even when their emotions try to pull them away. You've got to stop giving your feelings the final say. Some mornings you'll feel discouraged. Some days you'll feel empty, and that's okay. You don't have to be on fire to take the next step. You just have to take it, even if it's small, even if it's slow, even if no one else sees it. That's what makes you resilient. That's how you move forward. If you only show up when it's exciting, you're not growing. You're chasing highs. Growth happens in the middle of discomfort. It happens when you show up to the gym with no energy but still train. When you sit down to work, even though you're mentally drained. When you keep your promise to yourself, even if your body says stay in bed. That's where the shift happens. That's where confidence is built. By keeping your word, especially when it's hard. You see, every time you push through the resistance, you remind yourself of something important. That you're not controlled by mood. That you're not at the mercy of motivation. That you can move forward regardless of how you feel. And when you live like that, something amazing starts to happen. Your mind learns that it can count on you, not sometimes, always. That kind of consistency is what changes your self-worth from the inside out. I've seen so many people give up, not because they weren't talented, not because they weren't smart, but because they didn't push through when it got heavy. They let their energy determine their discipline. But discipline is what gives you your power back. And that power builds momentum, and momentum creates change. Look, I know how it feels to not want to get up. I know what it's like to feel uninspired, to be overwhelmed, to question if it's even worth it. But those are the moments that define who you are. You don't need to conquer the whole mountain today. You just need to take one step. Just show up. Even when your mind screams, not today. Your actions can whisper, yes, today. And that's how you take back your power, by doing what needs to be done, not what feels easy. Nobody becomes great without pushing past their limits. Nobody builds something lasting without facing days where everything in them says stop. But the ones who push anyway, they're the ones who build careers, legacies, strong minds, solid lives. It's not because they were more inspired. It's because they kept showing up. When you push yourself to act, even when you're not in the mood, you change the way you see yourself. You stop being someone who gives up. You stop being someone who makes excuses. You become someone who follows through. That shift alone can change your whole life. And the people around you, they notice. Your family, your coworkers, your children, they see when you show up without complaining. When you stay committed, even when no one's watching. That kind of quiet strength becomes your character. That's what people learn to trust. And that's what you learn to trust in yourself. So stop waiting for the right mood to start. The right mood will come after you move, not before. Your feelings are not the steering wheel. They are the weather. They come and go. You don't let the weather decide where you're going. You set your direction and move toward it, regardless of the forecast. You don't need to be perfect today. You just need to show up, even with doubt, even with fear, even with low energy. Because every time you show up when it's tough, you take a piece of that weakness and replace it with strength. That's how you transform. Not in one big breakthrough, but in 1,000 quiet decisions to push forward anyway. You want to feel better? Move. You want confidence? Keep your promises. You want momentum? Create it by doing what needs to be done even when your body says no. Action builds belief. Action builds clarity. Action builds freedom. You don't need the perfect plan. You don't need more time. You don't need better conditions. You just need to move. Now, even if it's just 5 minutes, even if it's one task, even if all you can do is show up for a short time, do. Your future is shaped in the moments you think don't matter. In the decision to get out of bed and give what you have. In the habit of doing the right thing, regardless of how it feels. That's the real training. That's the real work. And once you've built that, there's nothing you can't create. So whatever your goal is, better health, more income, stronger relationships, greater peace. Don't wait to feel ready. Start showing up now. Build the skill of showing up tired, showing up discouraged, showing up unsure. Because once you do that, everything else gets easier. And remember this. The hardest days to show up are the most important ones to push through. Because that's where your strength is forged. That's where you go from wishing to becoming, from talking about change to living it. So if today feels heavy, push through anyway. If your energy is low, show up anyway. If your motivation is gone, act anyway. That's how you become someone who doesn't just talk about building a great life. You actually do it. One decision at a time. You've got more in you than you feel. Show up and prove it. Number 5, speak truth to yourself, even when it's uncomfortable. If you want to grow, you must stop lying to yourself. Most people live their whole lives hiding from the truth. Not because they're dishonest with others, but because they're afraid to be honest with themselves. They cover up their insecurities with blame. They mask their regrets with distractions. They run from the mirror because deep down, they know the truth is staring back. But the people who rise in life, the people who make real changes, they develop the courage to speak the truth to themselves, even when it stings. If you're always telling yourself what feels good instead of what's real, you stay stuck. You can't fix what you refuse to face. And the longer you avoid the truth, the deeper your problems grow. It takes strength to say, I'm the one holding me back. It takes maturity to admit, I've been making excuses. It takes courage to look at yourself and say, this is where I need to grow. But without that kind of honesty, there's no transformation. There's only delay. You don't get better by pretending you have it all together. You get better by identifying the weak spots and doing something about them. If you've been lazy, say it. If you've been jealous, own it. If you've been blaming your parents, your boss, your partner, stop and ask, what's my part in this? Because the truth is, every time you hide from what's real, you give up the power to change. And yes, the truth can be painful. It can hit hard. It can make you feel exposed. But it also wakes you up. It snaps you out of denial. It makes you aware. And once you become aware, you can make a choice. You can decide to improve. You can decide to grow up. You can decide to rewrite your story. But only if you're willing to admit where the old story is broken. People think confidence is about always feeling strong. It's not. Real confidence comes from knowing you can face yourself, all of you, and still choose progress over shame. It comes from owning your flaws and saying, I'm working on them. That's power. That's leadership. That's how you build a life with integrity. Because if you don't learn to be honest with yourself, you'll fall into patterns that destroy your potential. You'll lie about why your relationships keep failing. You'll justify your poor habits. You'll convince yourself that your problems are because of other people. And that cycle will repeat until one day you wake up and realize you've spent years running from a conversation you should have had with yourself a long time ago. I'm not saying this is easy. It's not. Speaking truth to yourself requires self-respect. It requires emotional strength. It requires the willingness to feel uncomfortable. But the discomfort of truth is nothing compared to the pain of regret. The sooner you face what's real, the sooner you can start creating what's better. Look at your life right now. Be honest. Where are you settling? Where are you pretending? Where are you acting like things are okay when you know they're not? It could be your health. It could be your money. It could be your attitude. Whatever it is, don't run from it. Don't sugarcoat it. Name it. And then ask, what do I need to do differently? This is not about beating yourself up. This is not about shame. This is about responsibility. It's about caring enough about your future that you stop lying about your present. Because every lie you tell yourself is a wall between you and your best life. And every truth you face is a door to something better. You don't grow by pretending you're already there. You grow by facing what's holding you back. Maybe you've been wasting time. Maybe you've been scared to commit. Maybe you've been playing small because deep down you're afraid to fail. That's okay. Own it. Look it in the eye. And then take action. Because truth without action is just guilt. The truth followed by change. That's power. That's where transformation happens. When you tell yourself the truth and then back it up with real steps, you start rebuilding your self-worth. You stop hiding. You stop pretending. You start living. It might mean admitting that you've been making excuses for years. It might mean facing the fact that you've settled in your career or your relationships. It might mean realizing that the only thing standing between you and the life you want is your own refusal to get uncomfortable. But once you speak that truth, everything starts to shift. Your mind becomes sharper. Your decisions become cleaner. Your path becomes clearer. You don't need another motivational quote. You don't need another YouTube video. What you need is the honesty to say, this is where I am. This is what I've been doing. This is what needs to change. And then do the work. Because the truth will set you free, but not before it challenges you to rise. There's something deeply liberating about looking yourself in the mirror and not having to fake anything. Knowing that you've cleaned up the lies. Knowing that you're not hiding from your flaws. Knowing that your strength comes from truth, not illusion. That's the kind of life that brings peace. That's the kind of mindset that builds something real. You'll never feel proud of the lies you told to make life easier. But you will feel proud of the truth you face to make yourself better. So speak it, and if it's uncomfortable, especially if it's uncomfortable. Say the things you've been avoiding. Face the facts you've been running from. Admit the work you haven't been doing. And when you do, something powerful happens. You begin to trust yourself again, not because you're perfect, but because you're real. Because you're not hiding anymore. Because you've got the guts to call yourself out and the strength to make things right. This is how people rise. This is how lives change. This is how legacies are built. Not by pretending, but by choosing truth every day, every step, every decision. So if you're ready to grow, start here. Speak the truth. No filters, no soft edges, just honesty and action. And then watch who you become. Number 6, promise to never let fear decide your actions. If you let fear decide your actions, you will always live smaller than you were meant to. There comes a time in your life when you've got to decide what's driving the wheel. Too many people, far too many, are letting fear take the driver's seat. They're living by hesitation. They're stuck in delay. They hold back on the very things that would change everything. Because fear whispers, what if it goes wrong? And the sad part is, they listen. Fear has one job, to protect. But when protection becomes a prison, it's no longer doing you any favors. It stops you from trying. It stops you from speaking. It stops you from living. And the problem isn't that fear shows up. The problem is when fear gets the final vote. When it decides what you do, what you don't, what you say yes to, what you back out of. If you're always waiting for fear to go away before you act, you'll be waiting for the rest of your life. Every person you admire, every leader you look up to, every story of courage you've heard, all of them faced fear. The only difference is they made a promise, a quiet, powerful promise that fear will never make their choices for them. And that's what I'm challenging you to do today. Make that promise to yourself, because until you do, you'll keep shrinking in moments that were meant to grow you. Fear will give you a list of reasons why you shouldn't go for it, why you should wait, why you should quit. And most of them sound reasonable. That's how fear works. It doesn't scream, it negotiates. It says things like, be careful. What if it doesn't work? Maybe later. But what fear never says is what you'll lose by staying safe. The regret, the missed moments, the years of playing small, the pride you never feel because you never tried. And that is a far bigger price than failure ever was. I've seen it too many times. People with dreams, people with talent, people with something burning inside them. And they wait, and they think, and they hesitate. And then 10 years pass, and they realize they built a life around fear instead of building one around courage. They wake up with a safe job, a quiet routine, and a deep feeling that they left something on the table. But it doesn't have to be that way. Fear is not a stop sign. It's a signal. It tells you you're close to something that matters, something that means something to you, something that has weight. And your job is not to silence fear. Your job is to move forward anyway. That's what separates the few who change their lives from the many who just survive them. You've got a voice. Use it. You've got an idea. Build it. You've got a calling. Chase it. And when fear use up, and it will, speak to it. Say, I hear you, but you're not making the decisions here. Then take the step. Make the call. Show up to the room. Apply for the thing. Start the work. And keep going. Courage is not about being fearless. It's about doing the right thing while fear is standing right next to you. It's about proving to yourself, one decision at a time, that fear doesn't own you. It doesn't define your future. It doesn't get to rob you of what's possible. The biggest shifts in your life won't happen when you feel ready. They happen when you feel afraid and move anyway. And if you wait for the perfect conditions, the perfect confidence, the perfect time, you will miss the door when it opens. You don't get stronger by waiting. You get stronger by doing. And I'll tell you something else. People respect action. They respond to it. When you show up boldly, even if your voice shakes, even if your hands are nervous, you inspire others. You make space for possibility. And more importantly, you change your own story. You prove to yourself that fear might be loud, but it's not in charge. Most people stay stuck because they believe fear means stop, but it doesn't. It means there's something valuable on the other side, something worth growing into, something that will demand a better version of you. And that's the point. If your goals don't scare you, they're not stretching you. If your dreams don't shake your nerves a little, they're too small. There's a part of you that's tired of playing it safe, that's tired of being quiet, that's tired of living like you've got all the time in the world. And that part of you is right. You don't get to do this over. This is it. And what a shame it would be to look back and realize you let fear write the script of your life. So today, I challenge you. Make the promise. Not to be fearless, but to be brave. Not to wait for permission, but to give it to yourself. Not to run from fear, but to move with it, through it, beyond it. Every time you do that, you get stronger. You get clearer. You get closer to the person you were always meant to become. No more letting fear pick your path. No more hiding your voice. No more shrinking your dreams to make your life more comfortable. That's not what you were made for. You were made to grow. You were made to lead. You were made to live fully. And that only happens when you stop handing the mic to fear. You've got what it takes. Not because you're fearless, but because you're willing. And that willingness, that choice, that moment when you say, fear, you're not running this anymore, that's where everything begins to change. Now go. Move forward even if your legs shake. Say the thing even if your voice is unsure. Try the thing even if you're uncertain of the outcome. Because the only thing worse than fear is regret. And the only way to beat fear is to act anyway. Decide today that fear will never again decide your action, and your life will never look the same again. Number 7, focus only on what you can control right now. What's stealing your peace isn't always the problem. It's what you keep trying to control that was never yours to begin with. When you wake up in the morning and feel anxiety before your feet hit the floor, it's usually because your mind is already racing toward things that are outside your hands. What they'll say, what could go wrong, whether it'll all work out. And while you're sitting there mentally trying to organize the chaos of life, you forget one simple truth. Not everything needs your attention, but some things do need your discipline. You can't control how other people behave. You can't control whether the traffic clears or the boss is in a good mood. You can't control if someone supports you or not, but you can control how you speak to yourself when things aren't going your way. You can control your effort, your focus, your attitude, and your choices. And that's enough to build something powerful if you stay with it. There are people who wake up each day losing the fight in their own minds. Not because life is impossible, but because they're carrying what isn't theirs to carry. They try to manage every opinion, every outcome, every twist in the road, and then wonder why they're exhausted before they've even started the day. But I'm telling you right now, real power begins the moment you narrow your focus to what you can do today. You don't need to solve your entire future right now. You don't need all the answers. You don't need everything to line up before you take action. You need clarity. And clarity comes from narrowing the lens. What can you actually affect today? Your thoughts, your response, your next step. That's where your strength lives. You see, the mind gets overwhelmed when it tries to grasp what's out of reach. You can't predict every challenge or bend life to your will. That's wasted energy. But what you can do is create momentum. By focusing your attention where it actually counts, you can start the project. You can send the message. You can take care of your health. You can practice discipline even when no one's watching. And when you do that long enough, your life starts to change. Not because the world changed, but because you did. One of the most powerful things you can say to yourself every morning is this: I don't need to control everything. I just need to control myself. That mindset removes the weight you were never meant to carry. It puts the responsibility and the power back into your hands. Because if you spend your day obsessing over what might happen, you'll miss the opportunity to make something actually happen. There's a calm that comes when you focus on your part and release the rest. It's not laziness. It's not giving up. It's wisdom. You stop wasting time trying to fix things that were never broken by you in the first place. You stop arguing with people who don't want to grow. You stop chasing after outcomes that can't be forced. And instead, you double down on the one thing you always have control over: how you show up today. Maybe right now you feel overwhelmed. Maybe life's been pushing you harder than usual. Maybe everything feels uncertain. That's okay. What matters is what you do next. You can sit in the fear, or you can take the next right action. And here's the secret. Even the smallest step in the right direction puts you back in control. And don't fall into the trap of thinking you have to control your emotions to move forward. You don't. You just have to choose to act with discipline, even when the feelings aren't perfect. Some days you'll wake up tired. Some days you'll feel like nothing's working. But on those days, remind yourself, your job isn't to predict the outcome. Your job is to give your best effort and let that effort shape your path. There's real freedom in narrowing your focus. When you stop trying to micromanage life, you make space for peace. When you stop worrying about what others think, you make space for growth. When you stop trying to do everything all at once, you give yourself permission to succeed at the one thing that matters today. That's how people rise. Not by doing it all, but by doing what matters with consistency. You'll be surprised how much energy you save when you stop fighting battles that aren't yours. You'll be amazed at what you build when you put that energy into building you, your character, your habits, your focus. That's how people win. Quietly, daily, by mastering what's within their control. And don't confuse control with perfection. This isn't about being flawless. This is about being intentional. You don't need to be perfect. You need to be focused. Life isn't asking for your perfection. It's asking for your participation. And that means showing up every day and giving what you can. Even if it's not everything. Even if you're still figuring it out. Because if you spend your time trying to fix what's beyond your control, you'll never strengthen the parts of you that actually change your future. Focus on what you can do, and that becomes your advantage. That becomes your power. That becomes your edge. So if you woke up this morning feeling anxious, distracted, or unsure of what to do, stop, take a breath, and ask yourself one question. What's in my hands today? Then do that. Start there. One honest step. One clear decision. One focused action. And let that momentum carry you forward. Don't waste today trying to manage the things you were never meant to hold. Put your focus back where it belongs, not in the past, not in the future. Right here, right now, in what's yours to control. That and only that is what will change your life. And if you needed someone to remind you, you've got enough strength to do that. You've got the focus. You've got the power. It's just been scattered. Bring it back. Use it well. And don't ever let what you can't control make you forget everything you can. You are not powerless. You are not behind. You are not too late. You are just one focused day away from gaining it all back. So start now. Focus only on what you can control right now. And watch everything else begin to shift. Number 8, choose discipline over excuses every single morning. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the strength of your discipline the moment the alarm clock goes off. That first minute after you wake up, that tiny window where your body wants comfort and your mind starts negotiating, that's the battlefield. That's where most people lose. Not in the big moments, but in the small choices they repeat every single morning. Because if you start your day compromising with excuses, you train your mind to expect softness, and softness doesn't build the life you're chasing. Comfort doesn't create results. What builds you is that decision to get up and move forward when your feelings are still asleep. Discipline doesn't care how you feel. It cares about what you do when no one is watching. And every single morning, you get to vote for the kind of person you want to become. Not with talk, not with motivation, but with action. When you roll out of bed and choose structure over chaos, consistency over laziness, and priorities over impulses, that's when you win. That's when you take back control. It's easy to lie to yourself. I'll start tomorrow. I just need a break today. I'll be better when things slow down. But deep down, you know what those thoughts are. Just polished excuses dressed as logic. Discipline doesn't give you the luxury of pretending. It demands the truth. It asks what matters more. How you feel right now, or the life you say you want. Every time you choose the path of least resistance, you dig the same hole a little deeper. But every time you show up for yourself, even when it's uncomfortable, you build something unshakable. And over time, that decision compounds. It's not about being perfect. It's about showing up repeatedly, relentlessly, especially when it's hard. You'll never meet the future you dream about without pushing past the moment you want to quit. Success isn't reserved for the gift. It belongs to those who can delay comfort for purpose, who can say no to the impulse and yes to the long game. It belongs to those who understand that transformation is ugly, boring, and difficult before it ever becomes beautiful. No one sees you when you wake up early and feel tired, but still lace up your shoes. No one claps for you when you say no to the easy option and yes to the hard choice. But those are the moments that build your edge. Those are the reps that sharpen your identity. Discipline is forged when no one's watching, and that's why it's so powerful. It creates an internal confidence, a deep, quiet trust in yourself that says, I do what I say I will do. Most people wait to feel ready. That's a trap. Discipline is the ability to act regardless of how you feel. And the people who win aren't those who always feel like it. They're the ones who do it anyway. Even on the bad days. Especially on the bad days. And look, you're not broken because you feel resistant. You're not weak because your mind tells you to stay in bed, to take the day off, to hit snooze on your purpose. That voice exists in all of us, but discipline is the volume dial. It turns down the noise. It silences the distraction. It says, I see the excuse, but I'm not giving it power today. You've got goals, you've got vision, you want change, but wanting isn't enough. Hope doesn't build anything. It's what you build into your mornings that creates momentum. When you start your day with intention, not drifting, not reacting, but owning your time, you take the wheel, and that decision bleeds into everything else. Your focus sharpens, your energy shifts, your confidence grows, not because everything's easy, but because you're finally taking your life seriously. There's something sacred about the morning. It's untouched. It's yours. And how you use it determines whether you're creating your future or avoiding it. So don't let it slip away on autopilot. Don't trade your potential for a few extra minutes under the covers. That price is too high. Comfort now, regret later. Or discomfort now, pride later. That's the trade. Every single day. Your potential doesn't need more inspiration. It needs a commander. Someone who gets up and executes even when the mind is foggy. Even when the feelings are flat. Even when the excuses show up in disguise. That's what separates the doers from the dreamer. Discipline is the bridge, and the cost is repetition. So, stop waiting for the right mood. Build the right habits. Stop needing motivation. Create momentum. Stop giving in to your feelings. Align yourself with your mission. Because if your actions don't match your ambition, you'll always live beneath your potential. And no one can fix that but you. You've been given another morning. That's not random. That's opportunity. So use it like someone who's tired of repeating the same cycle. Use it like someone who's ready to elevate. Use it like someone who's not afraid to earn their confidence through action. This is your reminder. Your feelings don't decide your future. Your discipline does. Your purpose doesn't wait for convenience. It demands commitment. And your greatness, it's not out of reach. It's just on the other side of one hard decision, made over and over again. So choose to show up. Choose structure over chaos. Choose focus over distraction. Choose action over excuses. And do it every morning. Not because it's easy, but because it's worth it. If you're serious about changing your life, then change the way you start your day. Choose discipline. Not once, not sometimes, but every single morning. That your life will always reflect the habits you repeat. So repeat the ones that move you forward, and never ever again let excuses write your story. Number 9, tell yourself you deserve results, not just effort. You've been working hard, grinding day after day, but somewhere deep inside, a question nags at you. Am I really earning the results I want, or just spinning my wheels with empty effort? Effort alone isn't enough to move mountains. There's a silent trap many fall into, believing that trying hard is the same as winning. You give your time, your sweat, your late nights, and yet the outcomes don't reflect the energy poured in. And that gap can leave you frustrated, disillusioned, doubting yourself when you should be celebrating your progress. But here's the truth that changes everything. You deserve results, not just effort. There's a crucial difference between working hard and working effectively. Effort without results is a form of self-sabotage disguised as dedication. You're busy, but not productive. Exhausted, but not fulfilled. Showing up, but not truly winning. And the lie you've been telling yourself is that effort alone justifies staying stuck. That if you're trying, it's enough. But your soul knows better. Your dreams demand more. It's time to break free from that lie. Your effort is valuable only when it propels you forward. The universe rewards results. Clear, measurable progress. Not struggle without growth. Not action without impact. Not hustle without strategy. Imagine a sculptor who chips away tirelessly, but never looks at the form emerging. If they keep swinging the hammer without purpose, their effort is wasted. But when every strike is intentional, focused, and aimed at revealing the masterpiece beneath the stone, the effort becomes art. Your journey is the same. You can't just swing blindly and expect transformation. You must aim for results that honor your efforts. This means reflecting deeply on how you spend your time and energy. Are your actions aligned with your highest goals? Or are you caught in busy work? Are you learning and adapting, or repeating the same motions, hoping for a different outcome? You deserve the rewards of deliberate work, where your effort is not a hollow ritual, but a powerful engine driving you closer to what matters. Think about the times you've pushed yourself harder, only to fall short of your expectations. It's painful, yes, but that pain contains a lesson. Effort without direction can exhaust you without delivering progress. You're not here to settle for exhaustion. You're here to claim your result. Owning that truth requires courage. It demands that you hold yourself accountable, not just for showing up, but for moving the needle. It means setting higher standards, refusing to applaud mere attendance when what you want is transformation. And it means being honest with yourself about what's working and what isn't, even if it's uncomfortable. There's no shame in recognizing you've been caught in the effort trap. The shame is in letting it keep you stuck. Every great achiever has faced this. The temptation to mistake busyness for breakthroughs. But the difference between those who succeed and those who don't is that winners relentlessly chase results. They evaluate, adjust, and refocus their efforts until impact follows. The path to results is not always easy. It requires clarity about what success looks like. It demands a willingness to shift tactics when necessary. It calls for patience paired with relentless persistence. But most importantly, it invites you to believe deeply that you are worthy of those results. Not because you're perfect, but because you've earned them by working smarter and refusing to settle for less. Remember this. Results are a reflection of respect. Respect for your time, your talent, and your vision. When you tell yourself you deserve results, you're choosing to honor yourself in a way that transforms effort from a burden into a celebration. You're saying, I am worthy of success. I am worthy of breakthrough. I am worthy of living the life I imagine. This shift in mindset rewires your motivation. It pushes you to seek better strategies, to cultivate discipline, and to surround yourself with people who elevate your standard. It makes you intolerant of wasted energy and hungry for impact. Suddenly, effort becomes a joyful challenge, not a frustrating grind. It's time to stop settling for just trying and start demanding results as you're right. The world doesn't owe you success, but you owe it to yourself to strive for outcomes that match your effort. That means setting clear goals, tracking progress, and refusing to excuse half measures. It means celebrating wins, learning from setbacks, and never confusing struggle with success. You are more than a worker bee. You are a creator, a builder, a force that deserves to see the fruits of your labor flourish. If you've been waiting for permission to expect more, this is it. This is your call to raise your standards and hold your effort accountable. So from this moment forward, make a pact with yourself. Your effort will no longer be aimless. Your work will be intentional. Your energy will chase not just movement, but meaningful progress. You will honor your dreams by demanding results. because anything less is settling for survival when you were born to thrive. Start today. Reflect on where you've poured effort without reward. Identify one change you can make to turn struggle into success. Commit to that change and watch how your life responds. You deserve to feel the satisfaction of real achievement. You deserve the pride that comes from conquering obstacles and seeing your dreams take shape. You deserve results that match the fire inside you, not just the effort you invest. If you believe in your potential, if you're ready to move beyond mere effort into effective action, then stand up and declare it. Tell yourself, I am worthy of results. I am ready to create the life I've been fighting for. Because that declaration will ignite a chain reaction inside you, fueling relentless progress, unlocking new confidence, and transforming every drop of effort into the success you deserve. Your journey is waiting for the moment you stop settling. Don't just try, win. Don't just work. Conquer. Demand the results that honor your effort and live the life you're meant to live. Number 10, demand honesty and effort from yourself every day. If you want to change your life, start by demanding brutal honesty from yourself every single day. Because without truth, growth is impossible. And without effort, truth remains just words. Imagine waking up each morning with the kind of fierce commitment that doesn't allow for excuses, half-truths, or shortcuts. Picture a life where you hold yourself accountable with the same intensity you'd expect from the most disciplined mentor or coach. That level of self-demand is what separates those who dream from those who achieve. It's the difference between drifting through your days and steering your life with purpose and power. Too often, we let ourselves off the hook. We settle for surface-level honesty, telling ourselves what's comfortable instead of what's real. We excuse the small lapses in discipline because, after all, I'm only human. But what if that human part inside you is capable of more? What if every fiber of your being can be called to the highest standard? The one where you don't just talk about change, you embody it with relentless effort. The truth is, honesty and effort are partners in transformation. One without the other is a hollow promise. You can't fake the kind of honesty that cuts through your own illusions, and you can't half-step your way to greatness. Every day demands that you look yourself in the mirror and ask the hard questions. Am I truly giving my best? Am I confronting my weaknesses instead of hiding from them? Am I willing to admit when I'm wrong and adjust my course? This level of self-scrutiny isn't comfortable. It shakes the foundation of who you thought you were. It reveals cracks you'd rather ignore. But it's also the gateway to authentic growth. When you stop sugarcoating your reality and start meeting it head-on, you unlock the power to change it. Effort is the engine that drives this process. It's easy to talk about honesty and accountability, but without consistent action, they become meaningless. Effort means showing up even when you're tired, when you're discouraged, when nothing seems to go your way. It means pushing beyond excuses and distractions, holding yourself to a standard that refuses to compromise. There's a story that illustrates this better than any abstract concept. Consider the tale of a young athlete who dreamed of greatness. Every day, rain or shine, she pushed herself to practice harder than the day before. She faced injuries, self-doubt, and setbacks. There were moments when quitting felt like the easiest choice, but she demanded honesty from herself. Not just in acknowledging her pain, but in recognizing her potential. She demanded effort, not just occasional bursts, but sustained, focused action. That combination transformed her from a hopeful dreamer into a champion. Your story can be the same. You can cultivate the inner discipline to be truthful with yourself, no matter how raw or uncomfortable that truth is. You can decide that every day counts and every action matters. Because when you refuse to settle for anything less than your full effort, your life begins to change in ways that feel almost impossible until they happen. But this isn't about perfection. It's about commitment. It's about refusing to be your own enemy through denial, laziness, or avoidance. It's about embracing the hard work that honesty demands, because that work yields clarity. It reveals what's truly holding you back. It exposes the lies you tell yourself and offers a path to freedom. Here's where the real magic happens. Once you commit to this level of self-honesty and effort, your mindset shifts. You start to see challenges as opportunities to test your integrity. You become more resilient because you're no longer hiding behind excuses. You find peace in knowing you gave everything you had, and that even when things don't go perfectly, you can learn and improve. It also changes how you interact with the world. When you are honest with yourself, you build confidence that can't be shaken by external criticism or failure. Effort becomes a source of pride, not punishment, and you inspire others, not through words, but through the authenticity of your actions. This daily demand for honesty and effort requires vigilance. It means catching yourself when you slip into denial or complacency. It means setting clear goals and measuring progress honestly, not just wishing for change. It means being willing to confront your fears, admit your mistakes, and double down on your work. Imagine ending each day knowing you faced yourself without flinching. Picture going to bed with a sense of fulfillment because you honored your potential with integrity. That's the power of demanding honesty and effort from yourself every day. So right now, make a promise to yourself. Promise that you will no longer settle for surface-level commitment. Promise that you will face your reality with courage and work toward your dreams with relentless discipline. Promise that your effort will never be casual or half-hearted. Promise that you will be your own toughest critic and fiercest supporter simultaneously. This promise is your foundation. It is your secret weapon. When life throws obstacles your way, and it will, you'll have the inner strength to meet them head on. When motivation fades, you'll rely on your commitment to truth and work ethic to carry you forward. When doubts creep in, you'll remind yourself that your journey is built on a rock-solid base of honesty and effort. No one else can do this for you. No external validation can replace the satisfaction of knowing you gave your all. Your transformation depends on the promises you make to yourself and the actions you take to keep them. Today is your chance to take that step. Demand the truth from yourself, even when it's hard to hear. Commit to the effort, even when it feels like the easy road is to quit. Build your character one honest choice at a time, and watch as your life begins to reflect the power of that commitment. The path to greatness is paved by those who refuse to settle for less than their full potential. Will you be one of them? Will you stand up, look yourself in the eye, and say, I will be honest. I will give my best. I will never stop growing. If the answer is yes, then start now. Take a deep breath, make your promise, and step into the version of yourself that demands honesty and effort every day. Because that is the person who will achieve not just dreams, but a legacy. You owe it to yourself to become that person. Don't wait for tomorrow. Your future starts with the truth you tell yourself today and the effort you commit to make it real.